Hello everybody, welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And once again, we would like to give a shout out to our patrons. We appreciate all the tips and support. Only going to go to making the channel better. If you're curious about it, go ahead and check the description of the video. So for today's episode, I want to cover a question that was asked to us by a few of our viewers of what kind of strategies or what can you do for these shorter rolls? Because all strategies are designed for longer rolls. The place bet strategies, 2-point Molly systems, regression strategies, everything is based off of trying to catch that roll that's going to keep you going and make all of the money. And the statistically more uncommon type of rolls. But what about the standard rolls? Because as we know, a 7 has a 1 in 6 chance of coming out every single roll. Don't fall into that gambler's fallacy where it's been 4 rolls out of 7, so it's more likely to come. It's still a 1 in 6 chance, just every single roll, it's a 1 in 6 chance. So what about those rolls that are 1 roll, 2 rolls, 3 rolls long? What can you do? Well, there's a couple different things. The problem with trying to devise a strategy for the shorter rolls is it's a guesswork. It's literally a lottery. Like, for instance, if we wanted to design a strategy based off of 3 dice roll hands, how do you know what's going to roll? Now, of course, you don't know what's going to roll with any strategy, but when you have a strategy designed for 20, 30, 40 roll hands, you have a pretty high likelihood of various numbers rolling. In order to bet, say, every single number, you would have to bet so much that if a 7 out came within the 4th or 5th, or even within the first six rolls, you would lose money. Or you bet less and you just pick a few numbers, and that is the reason why some people do, say, evens. You know, the point maybe is 6, and they say, you know what, let me get 32 even, the 4, 8, and 10. Or the point is 5, so people decide to do outsides. You know, let me get 30 outside, the 4, 9, and 10. They're trying to minimize their risk while still having a decent number of points, which is the biggest reason why people play the inside numbers. The inside numbers have the highest likelihood of rolling. So by betting those, you're hoping that you're going to get at least a few hits there to pay off your bets. Generally, however many numbers you roll, you need approximately that many hits to be ahead if you continuously same bet. The downside of that is if you're continuously same betting, you fall behind on the longer rolls. For instance, if you start out with a 34 inside on something along these lines, so if you started out with the 34 inside and you just did same bet, same bet, same bet for the first 3 hits, and now we start getting some good rolls, continuing rolls, and now you start pressing, you're beat behind all the other people that press, especially if you slowly expand out before you start pressing, so you have all of the numbers, which is what I personally would do. You're multiple rolls behind. And now what ends up happening is you have this massive roll. I just had this last night, to be honest. We had about a 30-minute roll or so, about 25 to 30 minutes. And in general, most of the people that bought in for between $200 to $400 ended up leaving with about $1,200 to $1,600. There was one guy that I remember because he was standing right next to me, and it was actually the one rolling the dice. This was what made this even better. He was rolling the dice, and he was sitting with about $80 on the rail in front of him. And he had a pass line bet with odds, and he had a 6. And that was it. If it rolled, it was same bet. And he rolled for about 25 minutes. So at the end of the roll, everybody colors up $1,200 to $1,400, $1,600, somewhere around along those lines. Nobody colored up more than $2,000. Nobody colored up less than $700. Everyone colors up and they leave, and he's still here. The reason he's still at the table is because he has this 25, 30-minute roll, and he's got a whopping $150 in front of him. So he kept playing because he didn't win enough for him to go, oh, wow, I've got plenty of money, I'm going to take off. I had a solid win. Instead, he kept playing. So he caught that roll that everybody is playing dice to catch, He was the one who actually threw it, and he didn't make enough money off of it to leave. So he ended up losing his entire $150 that he had in front of him. And I see that all the time. If you don't bet enough to be able to win a level that makes you go, wow, I had a great day at the tables, I'm going to take off. If you don't bet enough for that, you're going to lose everything, unless you actually have a time limit to stop at, because you're just going to keep chasing. That's what people with smaller bankrolls do. So by being that beat behind, you end up not making as much. But as long as you're pressing, as long as if you catch a decent roll, you can still make some money, absolutely. So the inside, certainly one way of doing it. You have to catch at least 3 hits in order to make up your money. You've got $34 in action, not counting a pass line bet. So any of these hits are going to pay you $14. Any single one of these hits. So if you catch 3 of them, you've made $42. Right? You have 34 in action, so you're up 8. If you have a pass line bet, you're still down. You need at least 4 hits of your numbers before 7 comes, or 3 hits and a pass line winner, something along those lines. You need a combination of 4 wins just to break even and be slightly ahead. So that's the problem with strategies designed for the lower number of rolls. Now there's a couple things you can do. If you want to design a strategy that is entirely based off of 3 rolls or less, then I would recommend betting a 7. Just bet the any 7. You don't want to go with the don't pass because you can get absolutely slaughtered on really cold dice. It sounds counterintuitive, but I see it all the time. If you've got really cold dice and you just have a lot of winner 7s coming, because the 7's going to come, the dice don't know if it's a come out roll or not. The 7's going to come when it comes. I see don't pass players get absolutely annihilated on come out rolls, on 7-11s. They also get annihilated on the don't come. I see a lot of times somebody will have a don't pass, then they'll bet the don't come. 7 comes immediately, and they have broken even, which is great because they didn't lose money. And then if the don't come does travel, you do end up eventually catching that roll, and you end up having a whole bunch of down behinds, and you lose your money. If you're a don't pass player or a don't come player, always set yourself with a backstop of, okay, if I win this much, I'm going to leave. Because I see don't pass and don't come players double, triple, quadruple up all the time, and then give it all back. The dice are not going to stay cold all the time. People seem to have this fallacy that it is betting with the casino. It's not betting with the casino. There's a house edge. There is a house edge on all of it. So if you are betting it, you are going to lose over time. But you can win in the short term. So please take your winnings and be happy with them. Set yourself a backstop before you're going to quit. So if you're really looking for those 3 rolls or less, I would recommend the any 7. $3 bet, you win $13, right? So as long as that 7 occurs in 3 rolls or less, you're gonna make money. You're not gonna make a lot of money unless you want to go $15 every single time on a 3-way 7. But that's one way of doing it. Now, the other strategy, there's another strategy that requires a larger initial bankroll. It's a dangerous strategy. It is definitely for the shorter rolls, but not the super short rolls. It is targeting those rolls that are between 3 to 4 rolls before a 7 out. Sometimes 2 rolls before a 7 out. But it gets absolutely annihilated by the 0.7 out roll. And that is the regression strategies. The thing about the regression strategies is you still have an opportunity to press if you do happen to catch a really good roll. The downside is you are way behind because you start out with a larger bet, then you drop it down. So now you need numerous rolls. You need what we would call just a good roll, 6, 7, 8 hits of numbers, just to press yourself back up to where you started at to begin with before you took it all down. We call it depressing because it's depressing when you take your bets down and it continues to roll and everyone's making money. But the regression strategies. The regression strategy is definitely one way that you could play those middle roll levels. Again, the only problem is if it's a 0.7. So we're going to pretend that we don't have a pass line bet. So come out roll occurs, boom, we have the 5, and now we decide that we are going to go 160 across including. This is why it takes a larger amount of money to begin with. From the get-go, you have to have a decent bankroll in order to play this. But every single one, the absolute lowest any of these pay is $30. Or $35, I'm sorry, $35. All the inside numbers pay $35. The 4 and 10 pay $49. But 35 is all that we really need to worry about. And why? Because if a single one of these numbers hit, and let's say the 6 hits, okay, it's going to pay you $35. All right, and we're going to do it this way. We're going to pay it this way. And the reason we're going to pay it this way is because now this is the point where we regress. We come on down. We take our 160 across, including, and now we would go to 32 across, including. That's assuming we're on a $5 table. If we were on a $10 table, we actually have to do 320 across. Because now we have to win at least $70 per hit on any individual hit, so that then we can go ahead and drop it down to 64, including. Either one, depending on what level table you're at. So if you're at a $10 table, you need to have a big enough bankroll to be able to start off with $320 across. But that's where the regression strategies come into play. The entire design behind a regression strategy is to be able to basically have a free bet after the first hit of a number. So people that play the regression strategies, what they are targeting is they're targeting those smaller hands. They're targeting the hand that's 2 or 3 hits before the 7 out occurs. As long as one number hits, theoretically you're already in the black. You've already made money. You're slightly ahead. It's pennies, but you're slightly ahead. And now in their mind, their cross bet is a free bet. The danger to the regression strategies is the point out, the 0.7 out. Because as we just saw, you can go 260 across, or I'm sorry, 160 across including, or 320 across including, and then theoretically you have a free bet afterwards. Now, here's where you get the what ifs. What if a horn number rolls for your first number? Okay, now you need 2 rolls of the dice in order to break even, be slightly ahead, and have your free bet going across. All right? So what if a 7 comes at that point? If a 7 comes before you have managed to do this, you are now down $160 or $320. Up to you depending on what you bet. You're now down that much money. And how many hits does it take with your regression strategy being up just a couple bucks? Now, how many times do you have to hit to make back up your 160 or your 320 that you lost in the 0.7 out? That's the danger to the regression strategy. So that's why the regression strategy is not a great strategy, especially for the shorter rolls. But that's what people are aiming for, is they're aiming for the shorter rolls, the hands that don't go all that long. So in summary, if you're trying to make a strategy for the shorter rolls, there really isn't one. The best you're going to be able to do is some form of regression strategy, or play the lottery. Go for inside numbers, go for even numbers, go for the outside numbers, and just hope those numbers hit once or twice so that you have at least broken even and can now play the rest of your bets. Or if you really want to gamble, you go for the any 7, you're hopping the 7s, and just hoping that something rolls within the first 3 rolls. Any of those can be killed by a decent roll or a quick point out, depending on which way you're going. So I hope this helps you guys as far as strategies for shorter hands with the 7s coming out a lot more frequently. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll catch you guys next time.